Deep within the sprawling, shadowed expanses of the American wilderness lies a legend older than the nation itself, a winged nightmare born of desperation, malice, and a mother-horrifying curse. Welcome to the New Jersey Pine Barrens, a vast labyrinth of stunted pines and dark cedar swamps where civilization feels miles away and something ancient still watches from the mist. The story begins in the winter of 1735 inside a lonely cabin where a beleaguered mother named Jane Leeds faced a terrifying reality while carrying her 13th child. Exhausted, impoverished, and overwhelmed by impending motherhood, Jane uttered a fateful curse into the empty room, declaring that if another mouth to feed arrived, let it be the devil's. The birth night arrived amid a ferocious howling storm that shook the rustic cabin to its very foundations, while local midwives gathered around the bed with growing dread and apprehension. What emerged from the womb defied every law of nature, transforming instantly from a helpless newborn infant into a hideous, shrieking creature that terrified everyone present in the room. Witnesses claimed it possessed the head of a horse, the body of a dog, bat wings, cloven hooves, and a long serpent tail, screeching with a sound that curdled blood. With one brutal strike, the abomination attacked the midwives, shattered the chimney, and plunged out into the freezing night sky, vanishing forever into the impenetrable depths of the barrens. Though the mother survived, her chilling creation lived on, haunting the dense cedar swamps and establishing a terrifying legacy that would span centuries of folklore and unexplained fear. Centuries later, researchers like Arthur delve into dusty town archives, turning yellowed pages of local newspapers to separate cold historical facts from the terrifying folklore of New Jersey. Old clippings reveal horrifying accounts passed down through generations, each tale adding new layers of dread to the myth of the creature roaming the dark, endless woods. Even royalty was not immune to the legend. In 1820, Joseph Bonaparte, former king of Spain, reported sighting the beast while hunting in his baron's estate. Bonaparte watched in stunned silence as the creature soared effortlessly above the tree line, gliding with silent grace before disappearing into the impenetrable shadows of the swamp. Years later, naval hero Commodore Stephen Decatur visited a local cannon foundry and fired a direct shot at the beast, watching in horror as the bullet passed completely through unharmed. The metal slug struck its chest with a loud metallic ring, but the monster merely shrieked, turned its glowing red eyes toward the shooter, and vanished into the night air. Then came January 1909, a terrifying week when the entire state of New Jersey was plunged into mass hysteria as the creature went on a rampage. For 7 straight days, residents woke up to find bizarre, cloven hoofprints stamped across pristine, snow-covered roofs, stretching over fences, walls, and narrow suburban streets without any clear origin. The tracks defied all logic. They scaled vertical walls, crossed over closed barns, and vanished into thin air, leaving seasoned trackers baffled and utterly terrified across multiple towns. Factories closed their doors, schools suspended classes, and armed vigilante posses roamed the snow-draped streets at night, praying they would not cross paths with the winged terror. From police officers to factory workers, over 1,000 respectable citizens stepped forward with identical descriptions of the beast, terrorizing towns from Bristol all the way down to Atlantic City. Back in the present day, Arthur pores over faded police logs from that fateful winter, noticing chilling patterns that suggest the creature's movements followed specific ancient geographical paths. Every major sighting in history aligns with the lonely corridors of the Pine Barrens, a vast wilderness that has stubbornly resisted modern civilization for more than 3 centuries. Determined to separate truth from myth, Arthur packs his field gear, preparing to venture alone into the heart of the Barrens to see what secrets remain hidden in the dark. As dusk falls, he leaves the paved highways behind, driving his truck down narrow dirt logging roads, where the canopy closes overhead like a suffocating blanket of black velvet. Stepping out of the vehicle, Arthur is struck by an unnatural silence. The usual sounds of nocturnal wildlife vanish entirely, replaced by an oppressive, heavy stillness in the air. He clicks on his flashlight, the bright beam slicing through the clinging mist and illuminating twisted pine trunks that seem to shift and writhe in the dancing shadows. Then he hears it, a rhythmic, heavy crunching sound echoing through the brush just beyond his field of vision, moving with deliberate, unhurried steps parallel to his path. Arthur calls out into the darkness, asking if anyone is there, but his voice is swallowed instantly by the thick moss and dense canopy, without a single echo returning. The crushing footsteps stop instantly. A heavy silence settles over the woods once more, save for the slow, dripping moisture falling from the pine needles high above. Moving forward cautiously, Arthur discovers deep, unnatural gouges carved high into the bark of an ancient pitch pine, marks far too high and wide for any ordinary woodland animal. He holds his hand against the gashes, realizing with a chill that whatever made them stood nearly 7 feet tall, possessing immense physical strength and razor-sharp talons. Deeper within the wilderness lie the skeletal remains of Batstow Village, an abandoned 19th century ironworking settlement where rusted machinery and crumbling brick chimneys stand like tombstones. Arthur walks past empty window frames and collapsed roofs, feeling the weight of countless forgotten souls who once lived in fear of the monster lurking beyond the tree line. Suddenly, a towering shadow detaches itself from the crumbling brickwork, darting swiftly across the courtyard before Arthur can even raise his camera to capture the frame. Heart pounding, he sprints after the movement, crashing through dry brush and brambles, desperate to catch even a fleeting glimpse of the legendary beast in its natural domain. A heavy, suffocating odor of burning sulfur and rotting vegetation fills the damp night air, stinging his eyes and confirming something unnatural had just passed this exact way. Local folklore insists the devil does not merely hide in the woods. It speaks in a chilling human voice, mimicking lost travelers to lure the curious deep into the lethal cedar swamps. Faintly, drifting across the stagnant water of the bog, a distressed voice calls out for help in the darkness, sounding impossibly close yet completely impossible to locate. Arthur freezes, remembering the countless tales of travelers who followed phantom voices into the quagmire and were never seen again, their bones sinking forever into the peat. Even in the 21st century, truck drivers crossing isolated forest highways late at night report massive, winged silhouettes smashing into their windshields before vanishing into the tree line. Grainy dashcam videos surface online every few years, showing brief, terrifying glimpses of a horned bipedal shape crossing rural roads in less than a second. Skeptics argue it is merely a misidentified great horned owl or an elaborate hoax, but locals know the truth runs deeper than any simple explanation can possibly cover. Pushing further off the beaten track, Arthur reaches the deepest sector of the Barrens, an uncharted zone where GPS signals fail and compass needles spin wildly out of control. This is a place where time itself feels suspended, surrounded by primeval cedar trees that have stood untouched for millennia, guarding secrets humanity was never meant to uncover. Through the thick fog, a dilapidated wooden cabin emerges from the gloom, its roof caved in, and its walls covered in deep, savage claw marks that defy belief. Arthur steps cautiously through the rotting doorway, his flashlight cutting through floating dust particles inside a room that feels strangely warm and entirely undisturbed by wind. The interior walls are covered in crude, ancient charcoal drawings depicting winged figures, glowing red eyes, and a lineage of names dating back centuries before colonial settlement. The temperature drops precipitously in an instant, turning his warm breath into frost as a low, rumbling growl vibrates through the wooden floorboards beneath his heavy boots. Heavy leathery wings flap directly overhead against the caved-in rafters, accompanied by the unmistakable sound of sharp talons scraping across brittle wooden beams. Arthur slowly turns his flashlight toward the far corner of the room, bracing himself for the terrifying sight he has spent weeks researching and chasing through the dark. Standing before him in the gloom is a towering nightmare of muscle, fur, and leathery wings, fixing him with piercing crimson eyes that seem to peer directly into his soul. Unable to move or scream, Arthur stares into the face of the legend, realizing every single eyewitness account in history had drastically understated the sheer terror of the beast. To his absolute horror, the creature does not attack. Instead, it opens its jaws and speaks in a familiar, perfectly modulated human voice that stops his heart. It whispers his own name back to him, calling him by the exact childhood nickname only his late grandfather used when teaching him stories by the fireplace. A horrifying realization dawns upon him. The monster is not a wild animal wandering the woods, nor a random curse from 1735, but something much closer. The beast is not hiding from humanity to escape capture. It is standing guard over a hidden threshold, ensuring that no one else discovers what lies trapped beneath. Arthur looks down at his own hands, noticing for the first time dark, calloused nails and faint scales beginning to spread across his skin under the crimson light. He was never an investigator searching for the legend. He was simply the 13th generation returning home to take his rightful place among the endless pines. Some legends are never meant to be solved or defeated because the monster in the woods is only ever waiting for its next rightful heir to arrive. And as the fog rolls thick over the cedar swamps, a new pair of glowing red eyes opens in the dark, watching the lonely highways of New Jersey forever. If you ever drive through the Pine Barrens at night and hear a voice calling your name from the trees, remember this story and keep driving.